Welcome to NinonSpeaks. I'm your host, Ninon de Rosa, and my co-host is AJ Dean. Sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to NinonSpeaks. I'm Ninon de Rosa, and I have my host right next to me, AJ Dean, an amazing young lady. She is actually my producer. NinonSpeaks is a platform where we have a tremendous amount of different people, mostly in the entertainment business, whether it's the movie business or whether it's rock and roll, or whether it's the classical music or whether it's an author. And we have them all from all over the world. So we give you a platform to speak out, see who you are, what you are. And I always let AJ, who is my co-host, I let her introduce my guests. So take the platform, AJ.
Oh, thank you so much, Nina. We have a very special VIP in the house from Hollywood, Judah Ray. He is an award-winning VIP Hollywood writer, producer, get this, director, actor, filmmaker, casting director, editor, production designer, cinematographer, art, music. He does everything.
Oh, can we put that all on one page?
Yeah. And he's got these great motion pictures we want to talk about, a drama called Making Peace, and another drama and mystery called If She Screams. And Judah is also, he's such a sweet guy, so nice and wonderful and professional. He's also the founder of A-Level Pictures, and he is an amazing guy. Hello, Judah.
Hi, AJ. Hi, Ninon. Thanks for having me.
Hi, you know, I've spoken to you on this this other platform that we're all part of, which is what's it called? The club or something?
Yeah, Clubhouse.
The Clubhouse. Yeah. This is an amazing, I was on this Clubhouse thing for 2.5 hours with you, Judah. You captured me. For anybody to capture me for 1 hour, they've achieved a lot. You captured me for 2.5 hours. And it was fascinating what you were doing and how you managed to control so many people. But one thing I love about what you do, you've got a little switch somewhere which turns voices off. It turns them. What's that all about?
Just as a moderator, you have the choice of being able to mute people if need be. I don't use it often. But if someone's like causing noise or background while someone's trying to talk,
click. Click.
Yeah, you got to keep things. It's like wrangling a circus when you're doing these rooms on these chat rooms.
I know. You know, it's funny when I'm interviewing. You know, I have another program called Vegas Live with Ninon, and it's hard when I'm interviewing one person to keep all the people in the background to be quiet, and it's like, don't you get it?
It's true.
But, you know, I have to congratulate you on everything you've done and you achieved. I lived in Hollywood for many years. I was married there, and then I lived in Bel Air, and I lived in Mulholland. I was in the industry. It is a tough industry in Hollywood, and you have achieved and done so much. I know why. You've worked very, very hard. You've made sure you're there. So how exactly did you manage to get into all this as a young man coming to Hollywood, or were you born there?
Well, I was born and raised in Los Angeles. And I mean, I came from a very hard background, highly dysfunctional family.
Don't we all?
Right? So at a young age, I had found, you know, alternative lifestyles and nightlife events. And back in those days, there was actually these things called raves that had just first started.
I remember those. I know those. Hollywood Boulevard. They had many of them.
Yeah. So I was young. So I had a problem with insomnia my whole life. So when I found these, I started producing my own at a very young age, probably around, I think I was 15 when I first fell into actually like working as a producer, doing these events and doing these parties. And then throughout the years, I kind of got over the whole party lifestyle and, you know, going out 7 nights a week got very tiresome, and the crowd was getting younger while I was getting older, of course.
That's the way.
And I'd always loved film. I had tried my hand at writing a screenplay in my early 20s. And I just decided, well, producing one thing is like producing another, you know, in the end.
When you went to write your screenplay, what did you have in mind to write? Because you're very, very young. You've experienced, as of 15, a lot of experiences in Hollywood, and I know what they're like. I know a majority of them, how they. So what did you decide to write your first screenplay on, and how?
It's funny because it's my style now, and what I'm known for is completely different than what my first screenplay was. And I was young. So, I was influenced by Quentin Tarantino and Oliver Stone, and by movies like Kids out of New York, and, really edgy kind of stuff that was coming out, Clerks, and, all these young indie filmmakers were coming out with these young stories like Spring Breakers, and, all these films that dealt with these young, exciting characters going through, cool things and doing edgy stuff. And you had, Guy Ritchie coming out of the UK, who was doing his Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch and things like that. And so my first screenplay was actually really influenced by those type of films. It was about, young kids going to score weed in downtown Los Angeles and getting caught up in a whole entire scheme after they had their car stolen. It turned out the person they went to get the weed had their car stolen, so they meet this whole entire revenge scheme on him.
They always had an edge on it, didn't they? Always an edge on life.
Always an edge. Well, I mean, my recent work was described as Quentin Tarantino meets the Twilight Zone. So it still has some of those, that kind of feel that my voice, I guess you can say, has always kind of been.
And what year was that? Was that in the late 80s, 90s?
This was early 90s.
Early 90s.
Like mid 90s, I wrote that screenplay. And then I actually became a producer and produced my first film, which was a horror movie called One Among Us. And I started learning about, market, and that it's, it's the film industry, not film art. And started more gearing my work towards what was viable and what I could actually
It's funny how those horror movies came in very big in that time, and everybody was kind of filming them. And now they've come back again.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they've already left, but it's amazing. They didn't really leave. They've always been there, but they're very strong now. I know a lot of people. I'm in Vegas, and I know a lot of people in Vegas that are making these horror movies. And I'm saying, are they still around? People still love horror movies.
It's one of the biggest genres. I mean, for a couple of reasons. You got to, to start off with what we're talking about, with the advent of digital video, DV, that really did change a lot of things. You didn't need to go to film houses, get cameras, developing, all that stuff went out the window, and kids were able to get these digital video recorders, and the cheaper, easier things to do were horror. And then when it comes down to a market standpoint, you got to understand that stuff like comedy, stuff like romance, if you're doing a romance movie, what we find romantic here in the States is a lot different than what the Japanese find as romance, which is a lot different. And
also in Europe. Europe is different too. Totally different.
So, you look at these different cultures, and, we laugh at each other and what we think love is, or what we think is funny. So those don't really translate well. But if you're talking about like a ghost or something scary, I can scare the same person in the US market. Same thing's going to scare someone in the African market. It's going to scare someone in the Chinese market. It's going to scare someone in the UK. Or if I blow up a car, or a car chase, or a good old fight, I mean, a punch to someone's face is going to translate wherever you are.
That's funny, Judah, because I've never really looked at it that way. I'd never really thought, and you're absolutely right. That's something that spreads right across the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what country you come, they all want to see a horror movie. They all want to see this because they can all relate actually to the same thing. And exactly. That's what it is. And it's like when you talked about love, love is different in China, it's different in Russia, it's different in England, it's different in Europe, it's certainly different in America. And you're absolutely right. So what direction after you did your first one? Well, number one, it was a success, I assume.
Yes, it did very well. For me, very well. My first film was I made my investors' money back. And
that means they would come back. That means they would come back and support you again.
Well, actually, it was funny because I did that film and sold it and got done with it, and then I hit a wall so hard in the indie world because of what I had to do to make that first film that I left the indie world and I went to the studio system, and I started working with Ely Samaha over to MGM Studios up in the MGM Towers, and they gave me a desk, and I was young and I had no idea what I was doing.
But you faked it. You faked it and you did it, right?
No, I did some pretty cool things at the time. MGM was only working on their back catalog, so they weren't making new movies. So one of my jobs was to look at the whole back catalog and pick things that I think would be relevant and revamp them. Pretty much, it was the start of the whole entire bringing out sequels and prequels and redoing films. You know, that whole thing that's going on now was right at the beginning of that, and it was fun. It was entertaining, and then I learned about, you know, Hollywood.
And once you got into Hollywood, there was obviously a big change and a big difference within what you were doing or had done, and you'd succeeded in what you had done. And now you're going into something you have no clue what. Well, you had a clue, obviously, because
I did it. On the studio level, I had no.
Oh, studio level, okay, yeah. But on your level.
Yeah, it's a different atmosphere. It's a whole different drag in. And in the end, when I made my movie, I made my movie. So I was the one that made everything happen. When I started working the studio system, and why I left the studio system was it wasn't my properties anymore. So I would come up with ideas and I'd find out a couple weeks later that they would go into production and no one even told me.
So what do you mean? I understand it wasn't your properties, or what do you mean it wasn't your properties? You thought it still was your properties?
No, so like at MGM, well, the job that I had there was to go into their back catalog and pick out old movies that I thought could come back out. So when I would pitch these ideas, they weren't mine. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
So, you know, people would steal the credit and would say, you know, they bring the projects in and no one even mentioned my name. And I started realizing that things that I was doing were getting noticed. I wasn't getting any credit.
This is not where you wanted to go, was it, at all?
No. So, yeah, I walked away from that and spent a couple years soul searching. And it was right in the beginning of medical marijuana. And when marijuana got accepted as, you know, a medical thing in California. So I opened up a couple of those shops, and I had some medical shops going, and I'll never forget.
Really?
Yeah, the first 7 months. It was probably like the first 3 or 4 months. I had my first one going, and I didn't know the hell I was doing, and I was running these things, and this guy came up to me, this really sweet old man that I'd seen a couple of times, and he said, "Judah, my doctor said that I had 7 months to live, and that was 2 months ago, and I'm still here, and it's because of your place." And that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm good. This is what I want to do. And
oh, wow.
I loved the medical trade. It was fantastic until it became recreational. And I have nothing against recreational, but there are some people that should not smoke marijuana.
Yeah, I agree.
They justify it now that it's legal, that, but I was like, no, that doesn't mean you should smoke it. Like, look at what you're doing in your life. Look what you have going on in your life. You don't have any diseases. You have nothing. You're literally just smoking pot, and you're one of the laziest people I know. Like, you shouldn't be smoking pot. And
you know, it's funny you say that, because I've spoken to many people that do take and they smoke pot every day, and they say, "Oh, it doesn't affect you." And well, I look at them and I think, well, half the time they're out of it. They're not even functional, but they don't think they are. They think they're great. But so now it's going to be legalized. I understand that they're going to legalize it across America, I guess. And
we're getting close, and it's a little scary.
You know what it's like, but Judah, it's the same thing as liquor. When liquor came out, it was the same thing. It's going to reach its level. It's going to do its thing. But let's get back to the movie industry.
After I kind of ran my course and decided that, and I'll straight up say it, that money didn't make me happy, because I was doing really well, and I wasn't happy. I was in a beautiful house, and I was very unhappy. I didn't like my staff. The industry itself is a very hard industry. Everyone's stoned. So I was like, okay, time to get out of this. And I knew I wanted to get back in the film again. And I was probably in my early 30s at this time. And I made a choice to sell everything off and went back to school.
And what did you went back to school to learn producing, directing, and
I went back as a producer, because I was like, okay, indie drove me crazy. I liked the studio system, but I had no idea what I was doing. So why don't I go back to school, learn the studio system and how it works by trade, and then go into the studio system.
Did you go to AFI?
No, I went to, so as I said, I come from a very hard background.
Yeah.
And I graduated with a proficiency when I was 15 years old and got the hell out of high school and never went off to college. So when I was trying to reassimilate, now that I was older and I got my life together and I was doing really good, I tried to go back to college, no one would accept me because I didn't have the right, credits and stuff. So I went around, and I finally found a school, and they're not a bad school, LA Film School. They accepted me.
Good for you. I know LA Film School. I know it very well.
So I went to LA Film School, and I started my
Wasn't
first
that on Hollywood Boulevard? Hollywood and Algar, wasn't it? Or somewhere around there.
It's over off Sunset and I think like right by Vine, Sunset and Vine.
There you go, by Vine. Around that. Yeah.
And it's not the most accredited school, but what it gave me a chance to do, and what was really like life-changing for me there, was halfway through my curriculum, I found lenses, and I found directing, and I found screenwriting. And I had a great screenwriting teacher, Janice Sue Memel, who's an Oscar-winning screenwriter. And I had some great directing coaches. And when I found out how lenses
worked,
scripts, how actually
what they do,
tell stories,
pull them in and out.
I fell in love. I took my producer's hat on, put my creative hat on, and started working as a creative. So I graduated from there. And I knew a couple people from my film producing days, and I started putting myself out there as a writer. And I started writing my own stuff and entering in the festivals, which I've done really well, over 100 honors now for my writing. And then people started seeing that. I started ghostwriting for some really big names.
Oh, really?
And through my ghostwriting, I got a little bit more established, a little bit more known for what I was doing. I kept winning festivals and things like that. And then I finally got to do a ghostwrite where they included my name on the script.
At last, because ghostwriters, you can't put any names on, nothing goes on there because you're the ghost.
The stuff, but I can talk about this one because I was actually granted, because I did such good work on it, they put me as also a co-writer with Darren Lynn Bousman, who's the Saw series director and screenwriter.
Yes.
I ghostwrote his script, and they liked the work so much, my name's actually attached to the next
That
one.
was nice of them. A lot of people in the industry are very, very nice, and they do things like that. It's funny, when I worked, I had a show in Los Angeles called Voices of Tomorrow, and I did it for 16 years, and it was all for the younger generation. But whoever came on my set or whoever was around, I put their name on, and they said, "Why are you putting my name on?" I said, "Because you're actually here supporting me. You're actually doing, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but you're here supporting me." And it's nice when some people can do that and they don't feel inhibited. And I think more people should do that for the work you do. And then you want to be noticed, because once your name gets in one place, then it goes to another place. And that's how you get your name out there. And it's very hard.
Truth.
Very hard to get your name out there. AJ, you haven't asked anything because you haven't been given a chance. What would you like to ask Judah?
I've got several questions. Thank you so much, Ninon. It is such a pleasure and an honor to have you, Judah, in the building. I've got a few questions. I want you to talk about, please, your Making Peace, the motion picture Making Peace. And also, I have a question. Have you ever done an autobiography? Would you ever do a film of, like, Ninon is going to do a film of her life? Would you ever do something like that?
He's too young yet.
Let's go with the latter question first, and then I'll talk about Making Peace. I've thought often about my biography and my true, we used to call it the true E Hollywood story, because you remember those shows. That was a great show.
Sure.
But I'm in my third act right now, and I'm waiting to finish my third act. In my opinion, I've been told many times that I've already completed my third act, but there's just a level that I really want to achieve as a filmmaker and as a philanthropist and as a human being. And when I can reach those three levels that I believe will be where I want to achieve to be, I think I'll move into the next step.
And only you will know that. Only you will know. Everybody else will say, "Oh, you've reached it," but only you will know that you have reached it.
Yes,
you will know when I've fulfilled, the third level, which is what you're talking about. And then it's like, we're doing a book about my life, but I'm still got things to put in it, but that may be another book in the meantime. But I understand what you're saying, because you're not quite finished yet. You've got that little bit extra to put in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a storyteller, so I have a pretty good idea about first, second, and third resolutions, and
yes,
I'm close. I feel really close.
Good for you. Good for you.
Really close.
Okay, AJ, back to you, AJ.
Back to AJ. So yeah, then AJ, Making Peace. It's funny because you're asking the perfect question at the perfect time. So I had graduated valedictorian, cum laude, like top tier, whatever the hell you can get from that place. And while I was there, as I said, I worked with Janice Sue Memel on a short that I had an idea for. And it was terrible at first, but it was a good idea. And she liked it enough where she worked with me and helped me kind of vet it out to a point. Even a couple of times after I graduated, she still worked with me a couple of times to kind of get it like to a point where I felt good about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had met, so I had met a man at my graduation. His name is Joseph Logley. And Joe came in from Chicago. And he also had a very, very hard life, South Side Chicago, drugs, all kinds of crazy. That's his story. I'll let him tell his. But at my graduation, because I was older in my class, I had found a group of kids that, I'll say they were young, so they're kids that I had kind of worked with while I was going through the classes and through the school, that one after another got up at graduation and blew my mind before me, thanking me that they wouldn't have graduated if I wouldn't have like really pushed them and inspired them. So
Wow.
Really amazing speeches. I was the first ever valedictorian awarded by the school. And so Joe was in the crowd, and Joe had missed his graduation earlier that day for the sound recording school and had shown up at my graduation to take his honor. So afterwards, Joe came up to me and said, I really like what I heard, man. You seem like you're really doing good stuff. And here's my card. And if you ever need a sound guy, I just graduated sound. So I made this short called Roll with the Punches right out of school. It was a beautiful film about, a man that's just a thug looking guy. And he's on the run and the cops are chasing him. And you're seeing these videos of him robbing a liquor store, but by the end, you realize that it was all just a point of view, that he wasn't robbing the liquor store. There was just someone else in there, and it looked like he was part of it. And he has this bag the whole time, which you think it was a drug deal, gone bad. Yeah. But he's getting to the hospital because his wife's having his child, and the bag is a teddy bear.
Aww.
Yeah, it was based on like you watch, these people watch 30 seconds of a clip and go, oh, I know what happened. This happened and this person.
Assumption.
Yeah, totally. So I was like, I'll take you for 30 minutes you thinking something happened and show you were wrong after 30 minutes of watching footage like this. So it was like that kind of thing. And Joe came onto the set and we became close because he became my sound guy on that set. And so when I had Making Peace ready to go, I sent it to him and asked him to read it. And Joe has a daughter he was a little estranged with at that time because of his past and his history. And he read it. And it was the weirdest thing because remember, I come from horror. I come from thriller, horror, crazy. This is like my first drama, right? And so Joe calls me crying, sobbing like a little baby boy. I have to make this movie. You got to dedicate it to my daughter if I do, because it showed me that like I got to reconnect with my daughter before it's too late. And I'm on the other line. And he's crying, and I've never dealt with this in my life. Like,
we're trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah, dude, people don't call me crying because of my work touching them. Two, this is a big 6'3" tough guy from South Side Chicago.
Well, you're not gonna mess with him.
No, and he talks like macho Randy Man Savage. Oh, Judah, you gotta know. This really touched me, bro. Oh man, yeah. And I'm just like,
and he's crying, right?
And he's crying, right? And I don't know what to do because I don't know how to feel tears because of my work. So I'm just sitting there like, it's okay, man. Yeah, it's he's like, I gotta make this. So he EP'd my film, and it's really a blessing and a sad story because the executive producer, Stephanie, that we brought in our film passed away right after we were done with principal before we were into editing. So
I'm sorry for that.
God bless her soul. She really gave us a leg up, and Making Peace was made. And it's a drama thriller. Like I said, I've been told it's very
funny. Stephanie, she made Peace too.
Yeah, I mean, thank God her mom got to see it, and we put a big dedication to her at the end.
Of course, yes. So
yes.
You've had a tremendous amount of dramatic experiences growing up, getting into the business, being turned down on many universities and schools and everything, finding the right one. But it's funny because the school you found was the right one for you. It was the right, regardless of all the other places you probably would have missed out on if you'd gone to Loyola Marymount University, because that's where they have a lot of that film stuff. And so that wouldn't have been any good for you. But it's funny because where you fit in was the right show. That was the show you should be in.
Yeah.
Huh? Hey, Ninon, you're gonna need a director, a fine director in the future for your movie.
It's gonna be Judah.
Yes.
Are you kidding? Judah's gonna. You're not going. Judah, you've got yourself into a bit of a trap here. I know this is a good trouble.
Your story is beautiful, and it's something that I would love to build the world of and break the characters down and really just shine a light on the amazing life that I'm sure you have had.
I've had an incredible life, but I want to talk about your life. Okay. So now, where you are right now, you're doing an awful lot of things right now. Yeah. What is your next move? What is the thing that you really want to accomplish in kind of, I don't want to say next 10 years, but in the now going forward?
It's funny you say it like that.
Well, because it's now.
Well, yeah, that's actually what I'm doing now is how do I put this without sounding too weird? I'm a big advocate and always have, as I said, what part of my 3 tiers is self-improvement and reaching a point with myself.
Always.
Where, I'm happy and a fit part of this universe and the energy that flows through it. So, that's really what I'm working on in the next 10 years. I have a very, very deep belief that my work is good and that my screenplays are solid and that I'm really ready to take that next step with that kind of stuff. So I'm really been working on myself, on living in the now, on dropping ego, on all these type of things that.
I love to hear that. It's so funny. I do a lot of teaching with people. I help people. You don't need as much help, but at the same time, I'm going to say to you, drop all those guards, drop everything, and start being you and what you want and how you want to do it. I've done many things in my life, and people say, you can't do this and you can't do that. Oh, good Lord, here we go again, but I still keep moving on because I know I've been a person in this world that's I helped children for 16 years. I gave them a platform because of my childhood. So I gave back and I made no money on it. I didn't want to make any money on it. I did exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm giving you that direction right now that, money is, you don't get paid for something normally till you've worked it. Normally, if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you have to do the month's work first and then you get paid. Mm-hmm. And people seem to misunderstand that. They always get money. They want money up front. Well, you can't have money up front. You've got to prove who you are. But I think and I love what you said, you're going to start putting yourself out there. And I think you should. Don't be inhibited by anything, or if you feel you want to do something, do it.
Yeah.
If it's out of the ordinary, do it. If it's not in the written way or wherever it's supposed to be, just keep doing it, because that's what I've done. And I've over-hurdled a lot of things and sort of jumped over these hurdles. And it's because I never went to school like you. I never went to school. I never went to university. I never went to learn producing, talk, nothing. I learned nothing. I just did it all through my life.
Right? You learned it through the school of life.
And the school of life. And if you go through the school of life, Judah, you are going to have the most beautiful experience.
It's true. It's true. I quote a couple people that I've talked to lately that really were instrumental conversations to me, because it's funny. Yeah. I keep on meeting these big celebrity people and they get so thrown off because I don't talk about business or work. I threw Jack Black for an episode when we started talking, and he's like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good." So Jack, how are you? How's life? Are you happy? What's going on right now? And he was
cool. That's cool. That's so cool.
He was like, we just got into this conversation for like an hour.
Because nobody asked him. Nobody asked him that. That's why.
Choices that you've made, and
yeah,
it's really refreshing when you hear people that are so established really be open and honest about their truths, because we're all human beings. We're all
the same.
Trying to figure out what we're doing, if we've done it right. Even the highest people, I tell people, it's scarier at that level. It's so much harder because you've made so many choices. You're reflecting on those choices you've made. You're looking at what your choices you're making now and what your future is going to be for your career, and you can't make the wrong choice. So it all gets very heavy.
It gets very, very heavy, but just try to be yourself. We don't have too much time left. So Judah, I would love you to give us where people can find you. You have whatever you have, a Facebook or whatever.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What do you have?
I have multiple places. You can go to
Okay.
A Level Pictures with an S,
Okay.
alevelpictures.com. That's my website where you can find all my film stuff and what I've got coming up and projects I have available and such. You can follow me on Instagram at judah.ray. Someone got the Judah Ray before me. Can you believe it? Judah.ray.
Okay.
And you can find me on Facebook at, facebook.com/Judah Ray also.
Awesome. Awesome.
I do want to thank you so much for introducing us to Mr. Tom Sizemore too on Clubhouse. I want to give honor and respect to Mr. Sizemore, and thank you very much, Judah.
Oh, Tom was amazing. He's an amazing guy, Tom Sider. What a show you had. I want to thank everybody out there, and especially Judah, and of course my co-host has been amazing. She didn't get much to say because we've been trying to get everything in there. But I want to thank our audience out there as well, because they're absolutely amazing. Without all of you out there, nothing happens. So we've got to keep them up there. Anything you would like to direct, Judah, straight to the public of the younger generation of going into the business?
Yeah, actually I do. Because you brought up Tom, and me and Tom Sizemore had a really great conversation. In it, something came up that I think is really monumental.
Okay.
So we were talking about, the past, the future, and living in the now,
Mm-hmm.
and how if you give 100% right now, it doesn't matter whether in 10 years you look back and you made some mistakes, because all you can ever do is put 100% of your power into something and deal with what you know in that moment and push forward the best you can. So you can't have regrets about the past, because if you gave 100% and you did everything with the knowledge that you had, you didn't really make mistakes. You just lived and you learned. So there's no regrets after that. And then if you're putting 100% in right now, you don't have to worry about the future. Just put 100% in